Ephesians 6:12, for our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. My question with this is whether it's actual or metaphorical. The first bit is easy to understand. We're not against flesh and blood. We're not against human beings, but against the things that control them, the forces that drive them. You know, like some nutter goes into a primary school with a machine gun, and he says, "The devil made me do it." And so there are forces. This is a very mysterious verse. There are forces at work. Some have looked at this verse and seen a hierarchy of evil, you know, rulers and authorities and powers, and that may well be the case. But I want to see how it works in my life. Is it metaphorical or is it actual? My gut instinct is it's a bit of both. So what did he mean? What did he mean by that? Unless you're very careful, you end up with a picture of, you know, like Tom and Jerry, and you've got a little angelic figure on his shoulder here going, "No, Tom, no, Tom," and then a little devil figure on here going, "Go on, do it, Tom, do it, Tom." And you've got this sort of struggle going on between two equal opposites. Then again, we live in a spiritual world, a spiritual universe. There is such a thing as spiritual reality, and just as we have the presence of light, and that means the presence of darkness, so we have the presence of good, and that means the presence of evil. But we're talking about thought patterns. We're talking about the things that drive people. So let me just give you three instances that they talk about, that Paul talks about repeatedly. Here's the instances: love, joy, and peace. So what do the opposites of those look like? Paul said he was in a battle. He was fighting. He had to struggle against these things. What does that struggle look like in terms of love and joy and peace? Well, if you just think of the opposites, it all becomes quite straightforward, doesn't it? The opposite of love is hatred. The opposite of joy is hopelessness. The opposite of peace is fear. And they're polar opposites. And so what I desire to do in my life is to come against the thought processes that drive people into hatred, hopelessness, and fear. And those thought processes, what are they? If you engage in processes thinking unforgiving thoughts or bitter thoughts, resentment, then that prevents you loving someone. If you are swallowed up in feelings of depression or despair or discouragement, then that prevents you being joyful. And if you were torn at the edges with nervousness and anxiety, you know that very word worry, you know, think of a dog worrying at the edge of a carpet. And so it is with us, you know, anxiety worries at us and prevents us from being in peace. They are, in Paul's phraseology here, they are satanic thought patterns. And I want to battle against it by the way I live, by the way I respond to other people. Don't you? I don't want to entertain the army. I want to fight the enemy. Paul said, "Endure hardship as a good soldier." That's our struggle. That's our struggle. Don't you think it's a good one? Okay, God bless you.